Hello, aviators. This is Captain Ventura here, or you can call me Captain V for short. Coach A gave me a call the other day and he said, "Hey, Captain." I said, "Yes, Coach." He said, "Captain, can you do me a favor?" I said, "Why, yes, I can, Coach." I said, "What's that favor, Coach?" And he said, "Captain, I want to know if you can talk to the students about what Veterans Day is." I said, "Wow, Coach, really?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, Coach, I'd be honored to talk to the students about what Veterans Day is." So I got to thinking, how can I tell the students what Veterans Day is? And I came up with this cool little plan, and that is to do what I do. Do it in a mission format. Does anyone know what a mission is? Well, a mission is basically whatever the government tells me to do. If they tell me to go and destroy the enemy, that's a mission. Well, they could also say, go and talk to the school. That's a mission. But today I got a very special mission just for you and I. And that mission is to talk about Veterans Day. Specifically, the mission is to celebrate Veterans Day with me. Okay? So I'll talk about it, but at the end of the day, I want you to help me celebrate it. Okay? So like any mission, the first thing you got to do is figure out what the mission is asking, right? So the mission is asking to celebrate Veterans Day. But how can we celebrate Veterans Day if we don't know what Veterans Day is, right? So I did a little researching on the internet to find the exact definition of what a military veteran is. Now remember, Veterans Day is two words. So you got veteran and you got day. But we all know what day is. But what is veteran? What is a veteran? So according to the internet, on the Army website, it says a military veteran is any person who served for any length of time in any military service branch. I say again, a military veteran is any person who served for any length of time in any military service branch. Further, it states, Veterans Day is a celebration to honor Americans' veterans for their patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. So if we put those together, we know what a veteran is now. A veteran is any person who served for any length of time, meaning a day, month, years, in any military branch of service. So it could have been the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force. They could have served in any of those branches. All those together make up the military. And so today is a day about them. And again, it's a celebration to honor America's veterans. Quick interesting fact. Did you know that we have roughly about 320 million Americans living here in America, in the United States? And of those, did you know that less than 1% of Americans will serve in the military? Yes, that's 1%. That's not a very big number. So it's not the easiest job in the world. I stutter here because I'm trying to tell you what the military does. And, the government says how many people can be in the military. But on the flip side of that, it's also not a job that everybody runs to. It's not easy. For instance, we have to train long hours of the day. Sometimes, a lot of times, let me just say, almost every day I wake up at 5 in the morning so that I can be at work. I do physical training, which we call PT. That's where we exercise, do push-ups, sit-ups. We go run for miles at a time to make our body stronger so that we can be a better fighter. So we train all day. We train on our weapons. We train on medical, like how to stop blood if one of our fellow soldiers are bleeding. We train on all aspects of that. And sometimes we don't get home till really, really late, or sometimes we won't come home at all. We'll be in the field training for weeks at a time. Excuse me, even a couple of months. So it's very it's long hours and it's tiring. So the second thing is that it takes us away from our families. My wife and kids, they're always saying, "When's Daddy coming home? When's Daddy coming home?" And it makes me sad inside because how many of you out there have family that you just want to be with and you want to see? Well, I too have a family and I want to be with them and I want to see them, but training comes first. We have to train to be a better military service person. So it takes a lot out of you. And then the other part is it's very risky. Being in the military, we go to these places like Iraq or Afghanistan, and we're always sacrificing ourselves, not just time, but also our bodies and to some extent our lives. I can't tell you how many friends I've lost, uh, in wars, and so it makes me sad to know that they paid the ultimate sacrifice. That is, they gave their life um, so that they could serve their country. And so that's why we celebrate Veterans Day. Now, we honor them as well as those who've paid the ultimate sacrifice, but we also honor those that have served in the past or are still serving, that are alive still, because we know that it wasn't easy and it's not easy for military people to live a normal life. They're always having to sacrifice. So that's why we celebrate Veterans Day. And so now that I've given you all these facts and things about what a veteran is and what a veteran does, you might be wondering, like, well, why do we do it? Why risk your life? Why do that? And that's a good question. In fact, Coach A actually gave me a few questions to ask, and so let me scroll here on my computer, and I'll answer just. I'll talk about some of the questions he asked, and then hopefully I'll answer that, and then I'll get to the final question. Why do I do it? So the first question is, how long have you been in the military? What branch are you in? Good question. Good question. So I joined the military. Excuse me. I joined the military in 1999, and I'm currently in the Army. So I've been in the military for roughly 16 years now, and it's been a great career. I love it. What is your current rank? That's the second question. So right now, these two bars here represent a captain. When I first came in, I was actually a private. Then I worked myself up to private first class, and then I became the rank of specialist, and then I finally made it to become a sergeant, which was the coolest rank for me that I've had, because a sergeant is where you first become a leader in the Army, and so it really changed my life. And it was when I became a sergeant that I really wanted I knew that I wanted to stay in the Army. Eventually, I decided I wanted to become an officer. And so, in order to become an officer in the military, you have to have a bachelor's degree. You got to go to college, and you gotta get a degree. So, I went to college and got a degree, and then so I became an officer. And when you become an officer, you become a lieutenant. And a lieutenant it looks like this. It's just a one bar, not two. And the bar is gold. And then after you make that's called a second lieutenant. After you make second lieutenant, you become first lieutenant, which then they paint the bar black, and it's a black bar. And then now I have two bars, and that makes me a captain. So good question. That's what my rank is. What do I do in the military is the third question. Well, I'm currently in the human. I serve as a human resources officer. Basically, what that means is I'm the officer who finds soldiers. My commander tells me that she needs so many soldiers to come and fight the war, and so my job is to find people to bring into the military. My unit is a combat engineer battalion. We have roughly about 500 soldiers in my unit, and they consist of combat engineers, meaning they blow stuff up, but they can also build too. So it's pretty fun stuff. Really neat stuff. next question. Uh, have you been to war? Well, actually, I have. I've been to Iraq one time, and I've been to Afghanistan 2 times. If you don't know where those are on the map, ask your teacher, and they'll be able to show you how far it is. It took me on a plane ride about 20 hours total to get there. You know, the planes went to Germany, then it went to Kuwait, and then we finally made it. So the whole trip to be in a plane was about 20 hours. It's very tiring. Um, let's see, what's the next question? Uh, what did you do before you joined the military? Ooh, interesting. Okay, so I told you I've been in the military for 16 years, but for 12 of those years, I was in the Army Reserves. So what that means is basically you have two jobs. You do your whatever job you want to do, and then you're also in the military. So that second job that I was doing, I believe it or not, I was actually a teacher. Go teachers! And so I loved being a teacher. But one day the Army, I have to do what the Army tells me to do. And so one day the Army told me, they gave me a call. And I said hello, and they said, hello, Lieutenant. At that time I was a lieutenant. And they said, Lieutenant, we are gonna make you go active duty. And I said, really? So active duty just means that you serve the military full time, and reserves means you serve the military part time. And so that's what I did before. I was actually a middle school teacher in San Antonio. Let's see, next question. Uh, how do you get in the military? Oh, okay. So good question. Perfect person to be asking because I'm actually a human resources officer. Remember, I told you that I look for people to join the military. So um, if the first thing I will say is you gotta have good grades. You have to have good grades, and you have to pass school. So for those of you who are wanting to join the military, maybe when you graduate high school, you have to know now that you have to learn how to read. You have to know how to write. You have to know how to do math. Engineers, I'm in an engineer unit, and they need to be able to calculate using math. Um, how to calculate how far they need to send some of their missiles, or explode a bridge, or how deep they need to dig. So all that involves math, and even involves reading because you have to read the instructions. You have to, if the Army gives you a mission, you have to be able to read the mission. So first thing I'll say is do good in school, but the other part of it is your behavior. Um, the military only want the best. They want the best. They need people who are going to be good, who are going to be brave, who always tell the truth, who are honest, who are committed and loyal. That's who they're looking for. So your behavior, how you behave, even when people are not looking, right? When people are not looking, you should always, always, always do the right thing. The Army is very big on that, and so is the rest of the military. So now I'm cutting close on time here, but the last thing I have for the question, which is the one I promised you earlier, which is why do I serve in the military? Well, that's a big question. The short answer, because I like to serve. I feel like being in the military, remember we talked about only 1%, less than 1% of Americans will serve in the military, or serve in the military. And yeah, I like to serve. I like to be that person who is willing and ready to give my all. Because at the end of the day, I'm sacrificing my life, but I do it for a good cause. I do it for you who are watching, so that no enemy can come to America. I don't want nobody to come and harm us. I don't want them to come and invade our country and take over. We have a freedom here, and it's so special. But freedom comes at a price. You have to be willing to defend it. And so I really enjoy that. I like the fact that I get up in the morning and I'm serving a greater cause. That's why I do it. But also I also do it my wife and kids. Sad that I'm always away from them, but I know that what keeps me going is that I'm also doing it for them. I love them, my family, my parents, um, just my friends, everybody. I do it for them, and I do it for you. So just as I close out here today, um, remember what we talked about when I first started. I said I need you to help me on this mission, and the mission um, is to help me celebrate Veterans Day. And how are we going to do that? Well, I'm on this video, so you won't be able to tell me Happy Veterans Day. Maybe you can write me a letter, give it to Coach A, and I'll get it. But another way that we can celebrate it today is perhaps by finding a veteran, right? A veteran that's there now. And as I was thinking about this, it made clear sense to me that some of y'all may not know this, but remember, I don't know if I told you this. I can't remember if I told you that Coach A and I, we go way back. We actually went to kindergarten together. I've known Coach A for a very, very long time. We went to kindergarten or elementary together. Then we went to middle school, and then we were in high school together. I mean, Coach A and I are the bestest of friends, and today we still are best friends. Well, we were so much best friends that after we finished high school, we both agreed that we joined the army together. And so that's what we did. We served in the army. Now remember what I said about what a veteran is. It's a person who served for any length of time in any military service branch. So yes, Coach A may not be in the military now, but he did serve at one time. He served with me a few years back before he became a teacher. And so that qualifies Coach A. Woo! It qualifies Coach A to be a veteran. So I'm very, very proud to call Coach a fellow veteran. And so today, the mission for you is to find a veteran and tell them exactly what they mean, what they mean to you. One of the ways you can celebrate it is by telling them thank you, and a way you can say thank you is you can just say, sir, ma'am, I just want to say thank you so much for your sacrifice and for your service. Thank you for all you do, and that's it. You see a veteran, because remember I talked to you that veterans, they're away from their family, they're always training, and most importantly, they're sacrificing their life, right? So whenever you see a veteran, especially today on Veterans Day, or whoever you may know, maybe there's other people other than Coach there, but whoever it may be, let the veterans know how much you appreciate them, because it gets lonely for a military person. Sometimes um, sometimes your motivation makes us get through it, and so I want to say thank you for your time, Coach A, teachers and staff. Thank you so much for all you do for teaching the kids and students. Just remember, always do the right thing, even when people aren't looking. All right. Well, this is Captain V. I'm saying goodbye for now. Take care and wish you all the best. Go Aviators.